Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Have another interesting video. Hopefully everything is working good as far as the cameras. All right, so I'm going to show you the screen recording. So let me show that in here. So perfect. Again, now the iPad set up in the bottom here. So I'm going to be looking at a little down, but not as bad as it was in the other videos. So as you see, I have prepared the information we have. This is a 2007 RAM 2500. This is from Juan Romero. Let me actually put that information here. Yeah, I don't think you guys can see that, so I don't have to be facing backwards, right? All right, so thank you, Juan. He did fill the information. Hopefully, it's not the page that I have that you can download and fill all your information. I'm probably going to change a little bit of the columns because I can definitely see that it's not enough room in there for the B number. But he managed to do all that. If you have to use any of the other lines in there, I will definitely understand what exactly is going on. In the meantime, I'm changing that. All right, so he is from California. He said truck won't start. Scanner does not communicate with the ECM, PCM. Fuse box. I have actually the folder right here. Let me use this one. All right, so we can see his information in here. Well, I actually covered it up, so we will see the email, but obviously everything else is covered. So it says, yep, you guys are seeing everything perfectly. I am wondering what approximation runtime. I'll already respond that. He said problem will not start. Scanner does not communicate with ACM. Any ACM fuse on the fuse box will blow initially. It'll start blowing out the fuse, but still no communication with the ECM. Let me know if I can ship this ECM. Well, obviously it's already here, right? So I have all the powers and grounds and everything marked in here. So this is going to be pretty easy. So connector C2. So I have, and as you can see on the bottom, I'm moving the mouse. I don't know why sometimes, not sometimes, when I'm using Adobe PDF, it goes into black, so it's a little hard to show, and that's why I put all those boxes in there for you guys to see better. All right, connector C2 is a 50-pin connector, and I have in here all the pin outs, which makes very easy. So pin 20 is a power, pin 30 if we go as a power, and pin 40 if we go down to the connector is a power. So this is connector C2. Connector C2 has 50 pins. If we look at the computer, let me show you that. Make sure it's on. I'm not sure if I have the circle on, so give me just 1 second, guys. I think I turned that off by mistake, but well, oh, yeah, it's right here. So yeah, everything is in there. So the circle is there. I just need to turn the screen off, which right here. Yeah, so you guys can see that better. Again, I'm trying to get used to all this stuff. So got a message from a customer. Very handy for me now to use the iPad and everything in there. So yeah, so we have, as you see here, a 60-pin connector. That will be connector C1, and then a 50-pin connector, which is C2. And that's the one we will be using the most. Let's go back again to the diagram. So we have in the connector C2, we have the ignition. Uh, Let me go back to the screen. All right, so the yellow ignition, and I'm going to be using these colors for all the times, like guys, you guys get used to. And this is pretty much as shown on the diagram, so you can see in a bit in a little bit. Powers I got as red, so we got 20, 30, 40 for my testing. I only need to, to put one because they're internally interconnected. Grounds the same way, they're all interconnected internally in the computer, and definitely the switch ignition that has to be provided. So I need one power, one ignition, and one ground. I also mark one of the sensor grounds in here because it is there. In connector C2, oh sorry, C1, I mark more of all the signals, and you don't see that in the C2 because we already have it here. So connector C2, all I need is here, and the C1, which I didn't have that diagram as I'm showing in there, I put it, like the COM bus. So this is a COM C bus because this vehicle, and if we go over to the DLC, we here I got also a wire diagram. This is the color wire diagram. So this is not the original ones, but and that's also what I put this red box in here. It's a little confusing because this truck is at 2500 and you see it says, if I follow this right here, it says diesel, but it says except 2500. So I'm not sure yet, and I'm going to try to communicate. Otherwise, I will try to use the upper section. But looking at the diagrams, do I have the color diagrams in here? No. Let me get those as well. Color wire diagrams, powers and grind color. So right here. So yeah, this is the complete diagram. So if I go over to the DLC connector, sorry, the DLC diagram as we have here, it shows me that COM bus is in pin 4 and 5 on the 5.9, which this is a 5.9. In the other hand, on the upper section, when I'm moving right now, that cross section, or yeah, that's the mouse, right? And I said in there, I type myself because that's for me to remember later, use the red box. And I think that's the correct because if we see here, it says that COM C is in pins 34 and 35. If I go over to the color diagrams, even though it's there, 34 is a sensor signal and 35 is nothing in there. And we can see the shows connector C1. So C1. Um, if I go over to the color diagram, it shows me COM C and pins 4 and 5, not in 34 and 35. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to, I will not damage anything, but I will not communicate. So I think that we are in the correct path just to use these ones with COM C on to here. I'm going back into the DLC. Um, we can see that the communication doesn't go straight from the computer to the DLC, or it doesn't have a star connector or anything like that. So we have a gateway, which in this case is the TIPM, the totally integrated power module, is the one in charge to transfer that signal. I honestly, knowing Chrysler, I think that we can just connect safely, at least for my tests, the CAN C bus over to a DLC. So I'm going to use the regular box that I use all the time, so we can go back to this view like that you guys can see better. So let me get the all the stuff in here. This should be fairly quick. I got a master connector that I did for myself tests. Let me just see where I put it. Right here. This is going to make it very easy because I have, all the powers and all the grounds in there. So that's not how I usually put this on. So what I want to first do is, again, oops, I look like I pressed something. I'm not sure how. At least that's not in your screen. All right, so another thing that I want to show, if you have a computer that you need to send over to Mike Salazar Diagnostics, this is my website. Mike spells as M-A-I-C and sounds as Mike, regular Mike, right? Like M-I-K-E. All right, Mike Salazar Diagnostics. If you are in my page, diagnostic.com, right? You can then come over to this white box that I have here and clicking there, this will fill, open a Word document, this page that you can then put all your contact information and everything and then send the computer to me. If you need to contact me by email, then use the black box. This will open your email browser or application, right? And then you can start sending me an email and then we can chat and I can help you. If you want to use the chat, which is the blue button in here, please make sure that you add your email and telephone number. I need some way to contact you because in there, that is not, it doesn't save any information unless you add it. All right. Okay. Go back to the test. All right. So we're going to, let me get the wire diagram. I don't know why went out to, like, you guys were not seeing that, but for some reason the wiring went away and then I opened something for Adobe. I'm not really liking it. And I can see this into many applications and software, including the scanners. I don't know if you use an snap on a scanner on a hotel, and you are in the middle of diagnostics, and then you're trying to diagnose something, and then a pop-up commercial like, hello, this is my tool. Get out of it. because that's my tool. You're not here to send me commercials who allow you to sell me a tool that I purchased and then put your commercials. And it looks like it's happening here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that because I always block those out. I don't know how to do it in the hotel or into the Snap-on, but I will definitely look into do something like that because you know what? My tools, you want to put commercials, pay Google to put commercials, get out of my tools and saying in my computer, get out of my computers. All right, so let's do this connection. Um, all right, so C2, I have a picture here that makes very easy to me. So C1, C2, all right, so, and these are, I hope that these pins work perfectly here. Just need to see something in here because I'm going to use pin, let me see, because first switch has only one pin, the second switch has two wires, and then the third pin, or the third switch has only one wire. So I'm talking about these switches. I got BT1, BT2, and BT3. So these are just, regular switches that I can use as an ignition or power. The way that I have put myself is I got ignition, or sorry, battery, ignition, and terminal 87. That's the way I have always used it. So in this case, not a problem. So I have um, cable 16 as a power. So we're going to go into the connector in a second, which I have here. So let me actually put the screen recording so you guys can see that. So this is again one of the images that I always use for my testings inside the computer. We can see in this computer we're not going to use 16, 19, or 28 on the connector C2, C1, sorry, C2. We're going to use pins 4 and 5 as we already discussed. All right, but going into here, I also have the connector C2, right? And all I'm going to use in here is this view. Let me get this a little bigger because all I'm looking for this view is this. Hmm. Looks like I am actually connected into the computer. That's actually the computer connector. Yep. Yeah, it is actually. No, it's not. Let me look into with a microscope. I need to put the light on. I have done so many changes in the desk that I'm getting used to myself. I need to put this on the correct side. Hopefully everything is good. So in the meantime that we're doing that, I can change the view to that one so you guys can see more because I'm looking for this to see if I have any pinouts marked in here. No. Yeah, this connector has absolutely no pins marked. That makes it very hard, especially because I don't want to burn anything. No, we got absolutely nothing in there. Let me get that out of the way so it's not going to affect that. All right, so going into here, see, it's like I wanted you to see this kind of like arrow. So I'm pointing on the connector. You see the pins 1 to 10. In the middle of that, you will see kind of like an arrow, right? So if I go back to the view here, that arrow is here. So we have the kind of like the circle. Let me get something to point. So it's not my big finger in there. But yeah, so we got the connector circle and then this arrow. If you go back to the screen, we got that circle, which is the actual thread, and then we have the arrow. So it's telling me that the pin 10 should be up. All right, so that's very important when you're doing the test. All right, so pin 10 in this case is the opposite. So we have pin 10, 20. So I'm just going to use safely the first pin. All right, so pin 10 is up. Let's go back to powers and grounds. So we're going to use 32 as ignition. So 32, let me move this way so I can see better. So 32 should be, and we're going to use an ignition as pin, sorry, connector 17. Sorry, wire 17, not connector. This will be my ignition, and then 30, 1 and 2. Okay, so I got the powers. I need a ground, which we said it was, I'm just going over to the connections, I mean to the wire diagram. Pin 50 is a ground, so this is where I need to be very careful, right? So pin 50 is this one in here. All right, so that's all we need from here. Oh, and I have COM bus high and low. So we're going to use 6 and 14 from this connector, but that's going to go over to the other connector itself. These are small wires, so they're just tangling between each other in here. Want to make sure that nothing is going to be possibly touching any metal surfaces. So I'm going to protect that in a second. So connector 2, no, connector 1 is pin 4 and 5. So pin 4 and 5, I need to, let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm going in here to see again, because this is like working as a, I don't know, like a dentist backwards, right? So pin 11 to 20. So the first pin is pin number 1. So pin number 1 should be, and I start to the top, and this one is not giving me the arrow. Let me just see one thing, because let me go over to Identifix, which I still have open in here. And let me go over to, because these are not OEMs. Let me go over to the bookmarks. I did have it in here, so now connector view. Let me see, because I think, yeah, this was an error. You see, I saved this one. In the 51, sorry, the connector C2, I saved this one. This is the original one from Dodge. So let me go into a search. We're going to do a search again for connector C2, C1. Let me just see which one is the one I need. This is sometimes confusing. Yeah, C1, right? Yeah, it's connector C1. We're going to click enter. And in here, we're just going to go over to the bottom. Let's show at least 100, because these are the ones that I need as not the ones on the top. Like, you know, these are for all else 38 way. Well, right now, C160, this might be the one connector. Let me see if it shows it. That's just the speed of the internet or problems with Identifix. The speed, because that should already have been open. Okay. Yeah, that's the same one. I don't need that one. So I already had that one. I think the next one, if we open this one, you see, but it doesn't show it either. I was looking for that little arrow because this one does have an arrow too. So, but that it's not showing anything. So if we go over to my picture of the module, which this is what I'm always, you know, I'm very careful. All right, so pin 1. Pin 1 is on this corner, upper. Yeah, so pin 1, wow. This is, again, where you have to be careful. Not really a problem here because this is COM bus. So we got 5 pins. So let me just go into the connector. Um, well, I should have it here. It says pin 4 is scan low, and that should be pin 14 on the DLC, right? And pin 5 is scan high, which is pin 6 on the DLC, right? All right, now we can tangle all these wires backwards, and I have something that I can use. I always keep these little Velcro tied ups for the same reason. Like that, I can tie this up. Yeah, you guys are looking at what I'm doing. Just quickly tie this up and get it away from any metal surface. Just like that. It's perfect. So we got power, ground, communication, power, ground, and communication and ignition, right? So we have everything that that computer needs. I need to get also that I would really like to have is ground. Let me just get 2 more wires, guys. Give me 1 second. Because I would like to have just 2 more wires going into sensor ground and power, right? So we can get a multimeter in place, which I'm going to put here in voltage. You just want to make sure that we can use either connector. Realistically, if I can move it over to the one side, you guys can see it or not. We'll see. I might have to zoom out a little bit because I'm too close for you guys to see that. But so we got in connector, let me see. Can go into this one, find that easy. So I can use 23 and 25 on the same 23 and 25, right? So 23 ground, and let me put that picture here because that was going to help me. Yeah, so this is 23 and 24 are the same. Actually, nope. Let me see what is in here. CMP signal. Let me see what I have. Oh no, it is exactly the same thing in 25. So no, it is, yeah, it's everything is as I have it marked in here. So looking at that, that will be one to the third row. So we're gonna have the third row. So this will be 1, 11, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. All right, so we can then plug this into my multimeter. And I am in the way right there, right? Unless I move this just a little tiny bit, trying to give you the best possible view. All right, so let's power this up and see what we see. Yeah, I think you guys can see that well. And we got absolutely no 5 volts. Okay, so no. Oh, looks like it actually reboot my breakup box, my power supply. So this has a dead short here. Make sure I'm connected right. Yeah, pin 50. Let me just double check that, guys. 1 second. Mhm. Oh yeah. Oof. Yeah, this is a dead short. It's drawn 5 amps. So yeah, this is a completely shorted computer. No doubt about it. So let me give you a look. Yeah, you guys will not be able to see that. But my power supply is rebooting and I had that into 5 amps. So this is a completely dead short. So this is good enough for now. I reproduce his concern. So Juan, definitely I have reproduced your concern here. No doubt about I'm gonna have to open this computer, but this is pretty easy to reconnect. I now have everything that I need in the desk for this computer to be tested. So let me pause the video, guys, 1 second. So let me pause the video and I'll be right back with this computer fully open. All right, guys, so back in here. So, all right, so let me just show you what I can see here. So definitely we have a problem with the computer at the direct shore, and it's actually funny to see that because of what I can see here. So let me show you. All right, so perfect. So, um, hmm, so not sure how much I will be able to show there, but yeah. So we have a major short in the computer because this part of the board right here is completely open. But what it worries me is that even though with this open, we still have a massive short in the computer. So we're gonna have to definitely repair. This is a very common problem when either a battery is connected backwards and it burns the computer because it's a main power and ground, right? So if it gets like that, it blows this up. And sometimes it's just the main diode or it gets internally in the computer. So I'm going to just show you here. We have, hopefully you guys can see this area right here. We got a diode, we got the capacitors, main capacitors on this area, and then this has to be fixed. So I'm going to pretty much stop the video, get this as a part one. So let me go into the main screen. All right, guys, I'm going to start the video here. So I hope that you guys like all the content that I'm trying to do and all the effort that I'm putting as far as new lighting, new camera captures, screen recording, and try to give you the best possible videos. Leave the in the comments. Tell me what do you think? What would you like to have better? I'm definitely looking forward to get more audience and also as well more customers. So let me know what you think. This will be part one. I'm going to try to perform again the repairs in here, replace this diode, and see if I can establish communication. If that is the case, and then will be part two, me testing after repairing that. I mean, I think the repairing the diode and the part of this burn is nothing major for a video to be there make you this super long. I always recommend and I always replace all the diodes, all the capacitors to give my warranty, and that's why it's also included on the price that I give the customers when I repair something like that. All right, guys, so thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.